Hello everybody, just going live a minute early here to check the audio. Okay, it sounds like it's working. Welcome to Tour of the World episode 15. It was supposed to be in a 787 if you remember from the last episode, but of course now we have the Airbus A350 from iniBuild, so we are going to be using that for this flight. And it's quite a long one compared to the other ones we've done in the series. It's 463 nautical miles, which is not our longest, but long. We have done a 655 mile, and I believe it's the only longer flight so far, since we are trying to obviously see the entire world. We're not skipping over sections of it, so but sometimes we do got to pass quite a distance here. So here we're going to be going from Portland, Oregon to Bozeman, Yellowstone International Airport, as the thumbnail suggests. We're going to be doing a couple of flights around Yellowstone with some smaller planes and taking a helicopter, I don't know why I said it like that, right over the park as well in some future episodes, but for now we're just getting there. And if you also remember in our series, obviously we're seeing every landmark that we can in the states, so there's going to be lots of states, I'm sure, where we're stopping at multiple airports, like in Yellowstone, for example, which is in Wyoming. Well, Wyoming and Montana is parts of it anyway, because it's kind of on the border. But anyways, we're going to at least hit every state once. That's something I did mention. We're going to be landing on every state once, so if I don't see any landmarks specifically that I want to stop at in that state, we'll go to their largest international airport or their capital city or something like that. So anyways, we're in Oregon, in Portland, and we're going to go to Bozeman, Montana. So let's go ahead and start the planning. Let's go to SimBrief. I'm excited to get another flight in the A350. We've only done 2 successful flights yesterday. One where my landing wasn't very good, and then one where I wanted to watch the auto land to see how to properly do it, and the auto landing was horrible. So hopefully this is a better landing this time. We're going to be doing it ourselves, of course. So we're departing from KPDX, and arriving at KBZN. There we go. And the A350. 900, so A359. We're flying the 900 today. We flew the 1000 yesterday. We got the Delta livery on there. So I think it's DL. Let me just search it up. DAL. Okay, good to know. And we'll do a random number here. I always do that number. I'm not sure why, but it's always the number I choose. So there we go. DAL 0584. From Portland, Oregon to Bozeman, Yellowstone. I can never remember. And we have to switch this over to pounds since that's what the aircraft is set to right now. And we can generate the flight. And import to flight. And there we are. There's the flight. Again, quite a long one. Should be about an hour. We don't use any time compression or time ramping, sim speed, whatever you want to call it, in this series. This obviously makes it a lot longer, but that's kind of the point. It's a challenge. We're going to get everywhere in the world in real time. Let's go ahead and pull up to this medium ramp down here. And let's go ahead and start the flight. Hope you're all doing well today. It's a nice Saturday morning. Appreciate you joining. This does take a minute to load in with this plane. There we go. That's actually not too bad. A little longer yesterday. But we will give it time for everything to pop in here. All the sounds of everything connecting. Let's just not click ready to fly yet. Let's wait for the stuttering to stop. Or mostly stop. It's probably fine. Let's look around. Let's let more stuttering happen for everything to load in. Okay, and we're smooth. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful plane. It's just so massive. I'm still getting used to that. There's an A320 for scale. The bigger airliners I'm used to flying. again, this is the 900, so it's smaller than the 1000 by a bit. Just a great looking plane. We're gonna get right in. I got time for this flight, but I don't have a ton of extra time, so I'm not gonna look all around it. Let's go ahead and flip on the batteries. Battery 1, emergency 1, emergency 2, and battery 2. And external power 1 and 2. That sounds so good. All the clicking. To align our IRS systems. Turn on the ground recorder and the crew supply oxygen. Let's go flip on our passenger lights, all to auto. The seat belts, no smoking, no mobile, and arm the emergency lights. We'll come back down here. Let's start with our ground menu. We'll pull up the toolbar pushback menu, which also helps with our ground equipment. Let's pull up the jetway. If we have one, we do not have a jetway here, actually. Oops. Let's pull up the stairs. Okay, sometimes it doesn't work. I was thinking there's a building here based on that. Looks like there should be, yeah, it's just not loaded in. It's not, or not modeled in. That's okay. We need to do a passengerless flight for this one. Most of the tour of the world has just been us, you know, all alone in the plane, so that's okay. It's our tour, not everyone else's. Let's go ahead and get the air conditioning unit set up, though. If we have one here, we do. All right. There we get some air conditioning being pumped into the plane for now, while everything's shut down. Let's go to our flight ops menu and load in flight ops status. Import our flight plan. Here it is. Then let's go to our load sheet, import our load information, set our weight and fuel. Very small amount of fuel for this kind of plane for a domestic flight. 15,000 pounds on either side, nothing in the middle. We got a little bit less of a passenger load today. Oh, 324, actually not too much, just a little different distribution than we had last time. 311 out of 324 actually. So yeah, you can hold a bit less because of the fact that we're on a 900 out of 1,000. But still, 311 is a lot of people. A lot of people want to go to the Yellowstone. Well, there's no co-pilot, so hopefully they're fine with just one pilot. We won't tell them that. Alright, let's go ahead and do init. Company flight plan request. Request is pending. Just waiting for that. 1 second. I just have to do something else as well. There we go. Alright, we received it. So click on it and click insert. Boom. Let's go to our departure. Let's check our flight plan on our EFP here. Portable EFP. We're leaving runway 10 left. And we have the Lava 7 departure. And the PDT transition point. Put that in the temporary flight plan. Click our arrival. We're arriving on runway 30. 30. We are using the RNAV approach. RNAV 30. Y or... Okay, we'll do Y. Via... We don't have a via. We don't have a star. Okay. Let's just insert that then directly. And calculate it. Let's scroll down, look for any discontinuities. I don't have anything, that's perfect. Not super common, honestly. Let's flip over the altimeters before I forget to inches. Let's go ahead and go into plan mode here. We're at the top of the flight plan. Oh, what just happened? Okay. Some kind of keybind that shouldn't have happened just happened. Nobody saw that. Let's try that again real quick. welcome everybody to the stream. Anyone who is here early gets to enjoy that. Let's go to a gate this time. Well, what is everything's falling from the sky? All the ground equipment's falling from the sky. Okay, let's go to this heavy gate over here. Maybe we'll actually have a jetway. That was interesting. It was the highest that air conditioning unit's ever been. I think when I went to press something on my keyboard, my hand mashed a couple extra buttons and just the exact worst combination happened. I don't think that was the game's fault. Floating ground equipment everywhere. Love it. Let's let her load in again. Come on, there we go. Alright, let's hop in right away. Let's go through the startup procedure again. It doesn't take too long. 4 batteries. And the external power. All of our passenger lights. Ground recorder and crew supply oxygen. Flight ops menu. Let's go as fast as we can here. Well, sorry, ground menu. Get our toolbar pushed back this time. Actually, let's do it by ATC if it will work. Let's close that for now. Let's turn our ATC volume up. Press call. ATC menu. Let's tune ground. Let's turn our sound on so we can actually hear them. Welcome everyone who's joining now, by the way, who didn't get to see that issue we just had there.
Horizon Air 2069er, hold position, caution other traffic.
Portland Ground November 89er 727. Could you please get the passengers on board?
November 89er 727, the jetway is going to be connected.
Hold position, Horizon Air.
Let's get everybody to get the baggage and catering going.
Portland Ground November 89er 727. Could you please send the baggage?
November 89er 727, we don't know where the baggage is.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not tell the passengers that.
November 89er 727. Could you please
We'll ship it to them
send the catering
separately. Are you
November
catering at
89er
least?
727, we
Nope.
can't send your catering truck, please retry later.
Alright, well, they're getting on board and they're getting nothing else. Let's get the air conditioning unit hooked up. There it is. Alright, let's go to our flight ops menu again. Flight ops status, sim brief import. We have our flight from Portland, Oregon to Yellowstone, Bozeman internationally in Yellowstone. Let's go to our load sheet, import the information, and set our 0 fuel weight and our fuel. So fuel is loaded, passengers are loaded. Technically they're still walking on here, but in terms of weight they're loaded. Let's go here, let's go to init, company flight plan request. Let's get that information.
SkyWest 4088, continue taxi.
Let's insert the flight plan. Looks good. Let's go to... Wait a minute, did I align the IRSs? I did not. So we just restarted.
Roger, SkyWest 4088.
Okay, those are being aligned. Should have been done right away. Departure. Let's set this again. Go back to view. Come on, don't say that. Thank you. Runway 10 left. With the Lava 7 departure. And the PDT transition. Let's create a temporary flight plan. Let's check our arrival. Runway 30. We're doing... Well, that's not what I wanted. Runway 30. RNP. The RNAV Z approach. With no VIA, no star, no transition, nothing. Insert that into the temporary flight plan and create. Let's check for any discontinuities. We got nothing. So let's go through the flight plan correctly. Flip this thing over here to plan for our navigation display. We're at the top of the menu. That's where we left off last time, where we just messed up. Let's use our scroll wheel up down here, and we can scroll through the flight plan. Looking good. Nice, short, relatively short flight, especially for our long operations. Extended operations aircraft like this.
Let's
go ahead and go back to nav mode. Of course, it's not available because the IRS system is aligning. Let's go back to initialization. Let's go to fuel and load. Let's tell the plane its weight and fuel by clicking that box, clicking enter, enter, enter. It's all automatic. Set for the passenger numbers. We're going up to 41,000 for a short flight. That's interesting. Won't have long cruising. You hear the safety briefing going on here. That's cool. 311 passengers. Tell them to sit down. There we go. Economy mode. Cost index is 59. Is that correct? It is. Perfect. Let's go ahead and go back to initialization. Now let's go down to takeoff performance. Let's head over to our EFB here. Go to takeoff performance. Sync the FMS so we get the airport and the runway. And sync the weather. And compute the takeoff performance. We're using flaps 1 plus F. Air conditioning is on. Flex, thrust, takeoff. And we have our numbers. And let's send to FMS. Sends it back over here. And let's confirm the takeoff speeds. And let's make sure flaps 1, packs on, anti-ice off. That's good. Transition 18,000 feet. Perfect. Back to init. We're completed. Let's go ahead and get our clearance for the flight plan.
Portland ground November 89727 ready to copy IFR clearance.
Turn
to
flight
Bozeman.
directors on here.
November 89727 is cleared to Bozeman Airport as filed. Expect runway 10L, maintain 2,700 feet. Departure frequency is 127. 85 squawk 2137.
Set our altitude to 2,700 feet. We will check the chart though to make sure it's not just a bad instruction by base game ATC. See if we'll actually do it or not. But for now, we'll set it for that.
85 squawk 21 tree 7 November 89727.
727 readback is correct. Contact ground on 121. 90 when ready to taxi. Good day.
Let's tell ATC to disconnect the jet bridge here. Because the passengers have stopped boarding.
Portland ground Delta 2105 taxi to the gate.
Delta 2105 taxi to gate Delta 10 via taxiway Charlie 8 Charlie Charlie 6 cross runway 28L Bravo 6 Bravo Echo.
Alright, well, it wasn't us. Alright. Request boarding stop.
Portland
Let's turn our
ground
fuel
November
pumps on.
727. I am done with the boarding.
I'll give that a second. Okay, well, I don't know why the jetway's not moving yet. Let's turn the APU on. So the flap just opens. There we go, there's the jetway leaving us. And the flap is open, so let's get the APU starting. That's great. Let's bring this over to the OFP. Let's check the charts actually over here. Our departure airport. We want our departure chart. We are flying. Let's get the airport chart first. We'll pin it. And then we'll do our departure. And we are flying the Lava 7 RNAV departure. Just make sure that's correct. Yeah, it's good for all runways, so that is the only one. That is it. Pin that as well. Where are we taking off from? 10 left. Check the airport info. There's us. Taking off 10 left, okay.
Southwest 667 continue taxi.
So we have to follow this route here. Follow the river, Accor. We do have some train.
Roger Southwest
6,800 feet, 8,200 feet. No constraints or anything though. So there's 10 left. Climb on heading 103 and intercept course. Then on depicted route. Okay. So sounds good. Let's go ahead and pull up the airport chart for now. We can go to our pinned charts, and it's of course here because I pinned it. Okay, still waiting for the IRS and everything to align here. Let's get our weather information. Again, we are at Portland, which is KPDX. DX search 2992. Okay, it's just what 2992 is, what standard is, so we don't have to change anything. Which is also 1013 for hectopascals, so that is correct as well. It's nice and easy. Yeah, we're just waiting on our systems. We could have started them up probably 30-40 seconds earlier, but not earlier than that. So we just have to wait for the startup here. Actually, our APU is completed, so let's check the APU status. It is available. You can also see that there. Let's turn the bleed on so to get our air through the APU. We're already getting power through the APU. We can turn off our external power. And that also means we can tell the ground to get their things out of the way. Let's get the ground power unit and the air conditioning unit unhooked. And remove our chocks too. And we got a 737 in us. Interesting. You can see just how much smaller than that. We're nose to nose, almost. It's so much lower. The wheels are way in there. Those are the main gears, the rear gear. The wing, tail. It's just crazy the size difference between a wide body and a regular plane. Or, you know, not wide body. Come on, guys. Please align. The system actually should be able to tell us how long they'll take. Available in 0 minutes. There we go. We're seconds away. And there we are. Let's clear that. The info. Check our messages. Yeah, nothing we missed. So let's go ahead and go back to FMS1. Let's go to our init page. Let's go to our flight plan page and go to our serve page over here. Let's turn our transponder to auto. There we go. Let's open up the airport map on here. Have that load. Now let's talk to ATC again for clearance. Let's get some pushback clearance here. First, let's get our pushback set up actually. So we bring in our map, zoom it in. See the runway we're taking off on is right there in the green. So if we bring it all the way in, we want to push back on Tango. We're about right there. So let's grant pushback toolbar. That's what this plugin is called. We do pre-plan pushback. Brings up a map. Here we are. Here's Tango. So we want the plane to be right here. Please. Try the blue line generally along the lines. And click enter. So it's now planned. So then now let's get our clearance to push back.
Portland ground 727 gate Delta 1 for information
Get
echo.
our chart here.
Request pushback.
727 Portland ground. Pushback approved.
Okay. Pushback has been approved. So let's request our pushback. Let's go ahead and flip over to our beacon. Sorry, that's not the right way to say it. Let's turn our beacons on to warn the ground crew of our engines starting soon. We're gonna have a physical pushback tug. No, we're not gonna get the visual this time. That's sucks. All right. Look at the engine size difference. 737, A350. It's just crazy. Alright, so let's release our parking brake. And we can stop telling them to hold, so we're not getting the visual for some reason, but hey, at least our pushback is working. So let's put our engine ignition onto start. Check our fuel pumps are on, our APU bleed is on, so let's go ahead and start engine 1. We're going to go ahead and turn our probe and window heat on as well, onto auto. Welcome anyone who's just joined, by the way. Hope you're enjoying. It's a beautiful, beautiful plane. Startup procedure is a lot of buttons, but it's not too complicated. It's easy to memorize. Very cool sounds. And 1% is right here. Thrust percent is right there. About 19% is, it'll say available. There we go. We'll start engine 2. So we're still pushing back. Usually on pushback and get engine 1 fully started. Engine 2, work on getting it started. It's dragging our wheel for some reason. Oh, look at this. Who are you? Got an MD-90 coming below us. That's fantastic. Yeah, we won't have to be stopped here too long, which is nice. Because we almost got our engines ready. So let's put the parking brake on. Pushback is completed. And get that second engine to start. Let's get our taxi clearance a little early here. So it is a little bit busy on ATC. Let's get our taxi light on.
Ground November 89727 with Echo ready to taxi IFR.
It's gonna be ready any second here anyways. There it goes. Let's switch the ignition mode to normal. Hey Ryan. Just up to a nice flight to Yellowstone. How are you doing? And hey Aztec, how are you doing as well? Nice to see you again. We got our taxi clearance. Let's acknowledge. They're a bit busy.
Taxiing hold short runway 10L using taxiway Tango Kilo 1727.
Okay, so we're going with Tango where we're on Kilo and Kilo 1. Very, very simple taxi. Hi ETH, how you doing? Like the Southwest profile picture. It's cool how it looks like 3D like that. That's cool. I like that. Alright, we got our clearance. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and pop off the parking brakes. And just idling, we're going to push forward here with test our rudder. Test our joystick. Let's get the camera on there. Let's go ahead and turn our auto brake on. Set our flaps to 1 and arm the speed brakes. That's our takeoff checklist. And give it a little bit of thrust. Yeah, you better hold position. We're going to clip right through, that's okay. We're going over to Kilo, to our left here. This flight deck is just beautiful. Hear the message going on. Whoa. And the constraints and airport zone info. Listening to the little message that we can hear. It's kind of quiet. I'm not sure if it will come to PlayStation ETH since it's made by Microsoft, who makes Xbox. So yeah, they didn't say it's impossible. They said they might be thinking about it in the future. They want as many people to play it as possible, but they were telling us it continues taxi. But yeah, I don't know if it will be coming. They have no confirmed dates or anything. It might not even be this flight sim. It might be one in the future. Beautiful plane. Again, we're almost ready to take off. We have our auto brakes on. Flaps are set. Spoilers are set. Altimeters are set. Altitude. Lighting, we're not quite set up yet, but we'll do that on the hold short point. Not sure if we'll have to wait for takeoff or anything, since it is a bit busy here. Let's throw our brakes on, and park and brake. It'll probably be like Forza Xbox exclusive for a long time, then eventually go. Yeah, I imagine the same. Let's tune tower. Let's request our takeoff clearance. Let's put our nose lights on takeoff mode and our landing lights on. Our strobe on. We're on the serve screen already here. Let's turn our TCAS to TARA, our traffic alert system. There we go, there's our takeoff clearance. Let's acknowledge. Park and brakes are off.
10L November 89727.
A little bit of thrust. I got my joystick and thrust swapped around today from what I was doing yesterday. This is a right-handed joystick, so it's more realistic that way. Obviously, this is the setup that the first officer would be using, the joystick on the right, throttle on the left, and I'm in the captain's chair, but that's okay. That's how we'll be doing it today. Alright. Let's get onto the runway. This beast. Takeoff checklist is complete. That's my favorite NHL team. I would say Toronto Maple Leafs just because of where I am, but I don't honestly watch sports, so yeah, I don't watch hockey, but I would still say Toronto Maple Leafs. I kind of have to. That's where I live. I don't live in Toronto, but I do live in Ontario, and that's we all have to cheer for them. So let's go ahead and press the brakes. Let's get our parking brake on. We're doing a flex takeoff, so we're going to flex and not to toga, not all the way. Let's go to 20% throttle. Oh, we're in reverse thrust mode. 20%. Let it spool up. Alright. Parking brakes off. And flex thrust. Reset our view. Positive pressure, so we're pushing the nose down. 80 knots, so let's release the positive pressure. Just continue the roll. Switches over to 10.
V1.
V1, rotate. Let's pitch to 15 degrees. Go positive rate, let's put our gear up. It's a bit hard to do that and hold the joystick. Let's turn on autopilot. And we follow the course here. Acknowledge the handoff here. Lovely, lovely sounds of the gear. This plane sounds great. It's tuned departure. Let's get our departure chart on the screen. Make sure we're following that. It's contact departure.
Portland departure November 89727 is passing 1,900
So we're at
feet.
2,700, we'll wait.
2,700
Let's
feet.
bring it back to climb thrust.
November 89727 Portland departure, altimeter 29er.
Our throttle, of course, is on. We're at the altitude set.
727 climb and maintain
They're telling us to climb.
6,500 feet.
Let's set flaps to 0 and acknowledge our new instruction to climb to 6,500
Climb
feet.
and maintain 6,500 feet, 727.
6,500 feet.
2,500.
And go to open climb here. So plane can control the climb. I'll let the VG inhale. Okay, nice. Okay, our flaps are gone. We're going a little fast right here, but I imagine it's trying to aim for 250. It's supposed to be at 250 under 10,000, but yeah, it is aiming for it. So that's okay. Let's check the exterior view. It's going to be loud here. Beautiful sights, Portland. Absolutely beautiful. Again, we are on the Tour of the World channel for anyone joining new to the channel. Tour of the World series. Halo's great. This is episode 15. In this series, we're touring the entire world, but not in a circle. We're stopping every single landmark, essentially, that we can see. Every state, every country, everything. So, yeah, it's gonna be a long series. Take over a year for sure. We've been streaming the first 14 episodes together. I have it all kept track of. Have been 52 and a half hours. No time skipping. That's all of Canada, essentially. And only the beginning of the U.S. We've only really started the U.S. So yeah, it's going to be a very long series, but it's very enjoyable. We get to see everything, take pictures like a tourist, and we keep track of all of it on the Discord. Every single time the episode's over, I put in a little message of where we flew, and all the photos that I took are in there as well. So you can join that in the pinned comment if you would like. In the description, there's also a spreadsheet, a link to a spreadsheet. You can go there directly and see all the flights that we've done and all the flights that are coming up that I have pre-planned. I do a lot of research before each flight, so we don't have all of them planned in advance or anything like that. Okay, at this point I'm going to turn ATC off like we normally do in this series, because they don't give the best instructions, and it's better just to fly correctly. Eventually we'll join BATSIM, I imagine. Maybe not for this series, but we'll be taking our instructions from them. Our cruising altitude for this flight is supposed to be 41,000 feet. Let's go ahead and set it for 41,000. Let's get up there. Tell the plane it can start climbing. $41,000. That's a high cruising altitude for sure. Until those engines ramp up. It's awesome. We're going to get up past this terrain here. We're not going past that peak anyway. We're going to be turning to our right here soon. Switch over to arc view. We can just see ahead of us. We'll switch it over to 40 miles. Beautiful view. Alright, we're nearing 10,000 feet and we're quite far from the airport, so let's go ahead and turn our landing lights off, our nose lights off. All the passenger lights are still on auto. APU should have come off, that's my bad. Let's do that. Especially because the flap is open for it. And now we can disarm the ground spoilers. And that is all. Enjoy the view. Again, we are in the Tour of the World series, not just like the test flights yesterday, so we will be taking pictures along the way. Let's take our first one here. Include part of the screen so we know we're in the A350. Take a view of the picture of the mountains there. Now let's take a picture of this way, actually, of this mountain over here, with the whole flight deck. There we go. That'll be a nice picture. Next thing we're waiting on is 18,000. At 18,000 we've got some things to do. Not going to change anything setting it to standard because we're already at 2992, which was the correct altimeter for the airport. And that's what standard is. But we still will do what we need to do there. Let me just set up the overlay for you guys. Again, we're going from KPDX Portland to Bozeman International, which is KBZN. Again, you can see all this on the spreadsheet in the pinned comment. Sorry, the spreadsheet's in the description, or the Discord is in the pinned comment, which has also the spreadsheet as well. KBZN. There we go. That's not right. Gallatin Field. Hold on. Okay, that's another name for it, I guess. Let's go ahead and turn this on. There you go. So you can see a little progress bar of our flight there and all the flight stats. Again, it's not a super long flight today. About 465 miles though. It's not super short either. Let's go ahead and look at the departure chart. We're just about leaving it. Passing lava here. There we go. Switch over to the en route view. Perfect. See, we're leaving Portland. Bozeman, Montana, here we come. Here's Montana. I know we're skipping over Idaho. We're doing every state. We did Washington, Oregon, and we're going to Montana, and then Wyoming, then South Dakota, then North Dakota. But we will hit Idaho on the way back over to the west side of the U.S. We are skipping it on the way over. So we're flying right to Bozeman, Montana. I believe it's around here. It's pretty far south. Let's go ahead and hit this view like this. There, I think it's right there actually, Bozeman. Yep, you can see it there. Get one more view out. Could have. I can't zoom out. There you go, Bozeman. Love this new map view. It's great. We're just about at 300 knots there. Climbing about 2,000 feet a minute. See, all the way up to 41,000 will take some time. And since it's not a super long flight, we won't be there for long because we'll have to descend pretty slowly. There's only one setting of auto brake on the 350. Sorry, I missed that, Ben, if you're still here. There is technically only one setting. It's all automatic. So this above here is runway condition and braking action, which you would be able to see little messages up here. I actually might be able to see it now. I think we gotta be closer. On our descent, you'll see it. It'll say like dry and the temperature and stuff. And you set the runway conditions and auto brake, and it's all automatic. There is a way to do it where you select the exit as well. I don't know how to do it yet, but normally you can select the exit you're aiming for on the runway, and it will automatically brake exactly to that exit, which is crazy. Quite advanced. And then auto brake just on when you're taking off is automatically on rejected takeoff setting. Switch to the 80-mile view. See, we'll still be ascending over 80 miles. Switch all the way to 640. That does show the whole flight. Switch to 320 then. There's 18,000, so we'll switch over to standard. It's the same as 2992. Standard, standard, standard. There we are. And now let's turn the seatbelt lights. Make sure they're off. They're on auto, so they should be. Let's just turn them off. Make sure they're off. These lights are already off. Okay. Everything else looks good. Perfect. Can't use any time compression if possible on this series. Well, I guess not if possible. We always do. It's just if I gotta go or something. I do have a time limit for streaming today, but I do have some time. Let's go ahead and come out to the cabin here. Should be able to do this flight. Nice Delta cabin. Can you walk in the airport? Yeah, you can walk in the airport a little bit. Not in the airport, but around the flight deck. Around the ground, like ramp. That's what I'm trying to say. Jeez. This is cool. Good day. Thanks for choosing Delta. How long is the flight? The flight should be about an hour total. Probably less than that now. Nice first class seating. This is the A350 900, so a little bit shorter than the 1000 that we were in yesterday. There's the flight attendant station for those who haven't seen it. iniBuild has done an insane detailed job on this thing. It's just awesome. All the livery taking over everything as well. Having Delta written on all that stuff is awesome. There's our first class. This is our premium economy. Then our regular economy. Let's call our forward economy. And then we have our aft economy. Nice seating. Little in-flight entertainment on every screen. course, it's the extended operations, so. I was gonna say I can hear the engines ramping up, but no, I'm just getting behind them. It's crazy. There's how huge the wing is. You really can hear a difference by sitting in front and behind the engines. I just walk in front of them here. You hear that whir, that rumble kind of goes away. You hear a much different sound. They're just massive. What a cool view. Giant, giant wing. Let's take a picture of that. That mountain in the distance. It's awesome. Right, let's go ahead and go to the back of the plane. Much of the same though. This is our forward economy, and then we'll have our aft economy. Between this, we should have a bit more bathrooms. I believe there's a flight attendant station here. No, not on the 900 actually, so that's a bit of a difference. Just in the front and the back. As you can hear, quite a different sound back here. ZX8, is it worth buying now? If you're going to buy it, I would say yes, just because I haven't had many issues with it now that I have my stuff sorted out. So what I mean by that is yesterday, we were getting crashes like constantly. Like I couldn't play with the plane at all. Well, look at this little view out the window. This little port window, that's cool. But what I did was I uninstalled the plane, and then I switched over to the beta. I reinstalled the plane. I cleared my WASM folder, which is what they tell you to do, and they have a guide just how to get to that folder. It's pretty easy. Just delete everything in there and install the plane. Once I did what they actually said to do like that, everything worked fine. And I don't see, there's not like major issues. Like, of course it was a free plane, but when the fly-by-wire A380 came out, you know, the cabin wasn't done or anything like that. So if it was paid in that state, I'd say to wait, but it's not. It's I'd say fully done. Obviously they make some changes, but yeah, I think it's great. And if it's in your budget, I would say buy it. But it's a very expensive plane, of course, so everyone's budget is different. So it's really all up to your personal situation, if it's worth it to you. They did a great job, and I understand why it's priced how much it is, just because of how long they worked on it. You can go down to the avionics hatch. See all the computers in action. Not that you can really see computers in action, but they're here. It is a lot of money, it's for sure. 100 US. It's a lot of money, but it's why it's up to everyone's personal circumstance. I don't think it's too much money, considering many people worked on this for 4 years. Like, it's got to pay for their time. Simple as that. Which definitely restricts from some people, but I get why it's priced how it is. It'd be right in the cargo hold. Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody because of that. If I wasn't filming it and putting it on YouTube, I'm not sure if I would have bought it. I would have wanted it, that's for sure. I'm not sure if I would have got it, but yeah, no. If you can afford it, I'd say it's worth it, but if you can't, then you can't. So of course, it is a lot of money to spend on an in-game item. I just see why they charge that much. You can just see the detail. Like, I'm underneath the chair, and this, the cord for the chair is modeled. We got reflections on the floor here. We got behind the rudder pedals modeled. That's just nuts. Look at the texture on this, where the rudder pedals move. Let me move it, see what happens. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I'm really nerding out here, but if I move the rudder pedal, it actually opens and closes it. That's crazy. So, a lot of people buy it anyways. Yeah, they do. I mean, they put so much work into it, but yeah, they just can't price it at like $20 because they just won't make the money that they spent back. All that time and labor. Is it better on Xbox? I don't know. If you have an Xbox, it's a great game for sure, but if you have both, I would buy it on PC. You can PC can perform far better than an Xbox depending on what you have in terms of a computer. So you can definitely get better graphics and whatnot, but it's definitely a good game on an Xbox still. We're at 30,000 feet. This thing climbs like a beast. Tarantula always comes in, barrel roll right away. That's what he asked for. You have an HP laptop? If you have a laptop, I would probably recommend going with it on Xbox. Depending on the laptop specs, I would say Xbox can probably handle it better. Keep in mind you wouldn't be able to buy extra planes like this yet. Once the marketplace comes out on Xbox, then you can buy extra planes. But the game also has lots that come with it. Look at the circle fields there. That's cool. Let's take a picture of that. Yeah, it all depends on the specs of your laptop, ETH. If you go on a website called Can I Run That? Or Can I Run It? You search up Can I Run It with no spaces on Google, you get a website, and then you could search for any game and search up Can you run it, and it'll tell you based on the specs of your computer. You'll have to allow it permission, I believe, to like check the specs of your computer, and then it tells you. So if you don't know how the specs, if you don't know about computer specs yourself, that's an easy way for it to essentially tell you. For anyone joining, I appreciate you joining. We are headed from Portland, Oregon to Bozeman, Yellowstone International Airport on episode 15 of the Tour of the World series. This is awesome looking. We do not have circular fields where I am. It's cool seeing it's mostly something in the south. It makes it easier for irrigation, automatic irrigation, because they can have those standpipes that are in the middle and on the outside, and they have wheels that just spin around. It's secured in the middle and wheels on the outside that automatically spin around and spray water and fertilizer. Much easier to do that when it's a circle. You can't do it when it's a square. They still use them, but it's a little bit easier when it's a circle. We're not really in the south, but it does seem like a more arid area, that's for sure. And the deserty there. 33,500 feet. Headed all the way up to 41,000. Let's check our charts for our landing, just so we're prepared. So we're going to Bozeman right here. We need to be landed by then, so we got to get down way earlier. In other words, we're not even at our cruising height, altitude. Let's go to our charts. It's a departure chart. We can leave that alone. Let's check our arrival airport. Bozeman, we are doing the... I don't think we have any arrivals, right? Nope. Just runway 30. So let's go to approach. Our nav. Y runway 30. I believe this is the one. Lots of terrain around here. This will be interesting. Very interesting. Are these the right waypoints? Do we have these on here? Rattle, lever. I don't see that there. Stamps, Hazel. No, we don't have that. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, we don't. So are we on something else here? Is that runway 12 that I selected by accident? No, this is runway 30. Our nav. GPS A. Is this what we're doing? go to our plan view here. We're at the bottom. Zoom it into 10 miles. Looks like that's what we're doing. It doesn't look like a great plan. We should be using one of these approaches. Looks like quite a complicated airport to come in to, so let's go to RNAV Y runway 30. No, that's not what I want. Where were we on? What were we on before? Here, RNAV Y 30. I want this. So let's go ahead and change that. So here's our arrival, RNAV 30. Approach RNAV Y 30. There we go. Those are those waypoints. Via. Let's say no via. Or via rattle. Let's get more prepared. There we go. And no star point. So let's go none. And let's insert that into our flight plan, temporary flight plan. And insert that and check for any discontinuities. Shouldn't be it, just change the end of our flight. Instead of coming in straight to the airport, we're going to make a right turn and do this approach. Just feel much better about that. On the right RAM, -8. Yeah, I would recommend getting on an Xbox then if you have that. So that will be able to run the game. Let's go ahead and go to Arc View. 160 miles again. Let's go to 320. Let's do a little flight here. Almost at cruising altitude. We're slowing down on our climbs. We're at 38,000 feet. Harder to climb. Headed up to 41,000. So now let's pin this chart. RNAV Y runway 30. Because this is now the chart we're using. Since I selected that. And then approach. Or sorry, that's the approach. Let's check arrival, and maybe we should have an arrival as well. Let's see. No, let's just go right to the approach. That looks fine. We already added that in. So RNAV Y. This is what we want to look at. The first altitude we need to be at, worry about is at Rattle to Lever at 9,900. So we need to be at Rattle at 9,900. Not a problem. We are headed to WADAC. We click on our flight plan here. Or PS5 when it comes to PS5. Yeah, you can definitely wait for it, but there's no set date, and there's honestly no confirmation that it ever will, technically. Just keep that in mind. Here's Rattle. 17, 18. Here. Get my calculator out, sorry. Just seeing how far we actually have. If we go to Rattle. I'm a little confused. Let me go to plan mode again. Let me zoom it into 20 miles. And scroll down. So we go from these to Rattle to Lever. Okay. Let's clear that. Let's go back to Arc View and 160 miles. There will be, I know, with the new Nintendo Switch 2. Hopefully, but I mean, Microsoft is their competitor, so who knows. So if we have 180 miles from, I'm confused, PDT, 176 from WADAC. Oh, that's top of climb, I see. So from Wedeck we have 54 miles to Thies. These distances don't make sense. It seems far too spread out. Interesting, okay. Can I click on this and see how far this is? I can. It's 280 miles if we go direct, but we're not going direct. Gives me a good reference though. It would be at 9,000, so if we are at 41,000 to 9,900, so we'll just say to 10,000. We have to lose 31,000 feet. Times that by 3, we need 93 miles. Or far further than that, so we definitely don't need to descend for a little while here. Just about at the top of the climb here. I'm going to set a manual speed pin here. I'm going to go a little faster than it wants to. I'll wait till we get to 41,000 to do that. Since we're at max climb thrust still. There we go, the throttle's coming back, so let's set a manual speed and go a little faster. That might not look like much, but over time it does speed up the flight. Let's keep it at max climb thrust, and it's going to slowly speed up. Beautiful mountain view at 41,000 feet. So again, looks so good. These will be there in about 1809. At 1809, it's not in 18 minutes and 9 seconds. I believe on here it should give me a time estimate. It tells me the UTC, but it doesn't tell me time estimate. Let's say 1751 now. So that's saying we should be there in about 17, 18 minutes. Alright. And now we're at 41,000. Let's set our altitude down to our first elevation we're trying to get to, which is 9,900. Plane's not going to descend yet until we tell it to. 9,900. There we go. Still at max climb thrust, trying to accelerate to the manual speed I told to go. We can get there as fast as we can. It's a beautiful plane. And a beautiful part of the world too. Let's go ahead and look at our offside menu, which is set to the map. I'll zoom out to see exactly where we are here. I believe we're over Idaho. But not yet. Oh. Never mind. Okay. No. This is all Montana here. I thought Idaho stuck up further than it does. Boise, this is Idaho. I'm so confused. At least that is. Can't see that where the line is. Interesting. Okay, well, doesn't matter. at the mountains. Super cool. Alright, so still estimated of 1809, even though I sped the plane up a little bit. So I imagine we'll be there a little earlier than that, but maybe not. It's about 15 minutes for now. So we'll see. And then we have to, let's see. I think we got to descend before that, but it's telling me after. So it doesn't want to be at Rattle at 9,000. It wants to be at Lever at 9,900. Okay. I guess that's when we have to be, but I figure we should be here as well. So that's 9,900 right there. Maybe that's just a minimum. Alright, we'll plan to be there at Lever then. Should I keep it at max climb tower so you can't get to that speed, I guess? Let's bring it back a little bit. Make sure everything is set as it should be, from what I can tell. Alright, we're 113 miles to Weedak. Just gotta sit tight. I'm gonna go AFK for about 5 to 10 minutes while we're on the cruise phase, because that's how long it will take. Let me just head back to get a better view here. Sit in first class and look back at the engine. So I can peek our head out a little bit. Cheat. Beautiful. Alright, I will be back in just a few minutes here. Appreciate you guys watching. Sticking around. Alright, I am back. Let's go ahead and reset our view to the cabin, flight deck. Not the cabin, we were in the cabin. Let's check on everything here. So we have 66 miles to go to WEDAC. Its time estimate's gone down 1 minute from 1808 to 1809 to 1808. And it's 1801. So 7 more minutes. 6 more minutes. That's not throw there. That's just our next waypoint. It looks like we got 54 miles. Then it thinks our top descent. Then 106 miles. Let's just do some math here. We want to be down by lever. So 7 plus 17 plus 4 plus 18 plus 106 plus 54. So from WEDAC to where we need to be descended, we have 206 miles. So quite a bit of flight time still once we get there. And to descend, so we have 206 to descend from 41,000 to 10,000. We have to lose 31,000, 31.1 thousand feet essentially to get to 9,900. Times that by 3, we need 94 miles. And we'll have 206, so we definitely have the distance that we need. Huge mountain range below us. Cool to see we can see the whole thing essentially. Across this way anyway, not the length of it of course. Got titanium pieces here. Cool blue. Detail on the exterior is just crazy too. We got lots of wing flex, you can see the wings moving. Oh, feels like the real deal. Got the exhaust. It's very well done, that's for sure. So it looks like it thinks we're about 90 miles from top of descent. We're not going to let it do its descent. Maybe we will, I don't know what. Let's see. A350. I'll just look up why it wasn't descending last time. Just looking at why it might not automatically descend at the top of descent, because it looks like it was doing something wrong. Okay, so we need to use managed descent. And that will do it. Gotcha. So for now, we'll keep that at 9,900. Hopefully that works. Okay, so we want to push up on to make a managed descent, which will automatically go into a short descent of a slow descent of 1,000 feet a minute down just before the top of descent, and then it'll intercept the profile and take it down properly. So hopefully that works. We will do that. So after we hit WEDAC, we have 54 miles until we need to do that, essentially, until the top of descent. So tell it to go even faster. Come on. Throttle the engines up all the way. They basically are ramped all the way up the whole time to try to maintain this highest speed. It wants to be a little bit slower, but I got somewhere to be, so it's going to be able to maintain that speed easily when we're descending. It's going to have gravity on its side. Hey Ben, the next tutorial, I have half of it recorded on the Cessna Longitude. It's quite a simple plane. I just was having a lot of flight sim issues with it for some reason, a lot of bugs, so I stopped recording that. So I probably will finish the Cessna Longitude, and then it'll be on the A350 on the plane you're seeing here. Obviously this is more of a complicated tutorial, but it's also less used because not everyone's going to have this plane. So I want to get the Longitude out first because everyone does have that, or a lot of people have it. It's quite a simple plane, especially because you can also vision jet. It's the same Garmin system, so you can fly a little vision jet with it as well. But I might still do a separate video on that as well. I probably will. So I got a couple ones planned. I know it's been a while. I had a couple weeks, a week where I was busy and a week on vacation, so essentially 2 weeks where I couldn't do anything. Tried to record it to have it out there, but let's see. Oh, that's true. A 737 was actually planned. I hadn't started the video, but you know what? Everyone has that plane. I should honestly do that before other things. So Longitude, I didn't have much time to record, and it was supposed to be simple if flight sim works, so that's why I did that. But yeah, I think my next more complicated plane will be the 737. Completely forgot about that. I still got to learn more about it a little bit. Get a couple more practice flights in. Can definitely fly it enough to get it there, but I'm less experienced than I was on the A320, so gotta know what I'm talking about before recording a tutorial, of course. Feel free to watch some of the Tour of the World episodes of these streams. There's a couple that we use the 737, quite a few. If you click the pinned comment, the description has a link to a spreadsheet. It shows every single flight and what plane we used. So if you find the ones that say 737, on the left side you can see what episode that was in. And you can go watch that. Oh, voice crack, nice. Obviously, as I'm streaming, I talk through what I'm doing and what I'm pressing. So you're hearing the last one, right? Yeah, I think we were in a 737 in that one as well. So that can be like a partial tutorial before I actually do one. Right, okay, we did use the 737, you're right. Well, I appreciate you joining again. I knew you were here before in A stream, I just couldn't remember which one. Okay, so we're almost at top of descent here, less than 40 miles. Let's bring this down to 180. So nice having the charts built in, and they actually work. Unlike SimBrief, like on the tablet where it has to like regenerate everything, and every time you go to external view it stops loading correctly. And the A350, this is a great plane. Yeah, of course, Ben. Yeah, I keep all my live streams on the channel. Of course, I'll still do a tutorial video on it. I know it'll make more sense in that kind of way than just watching a stream, but it might help you a little bit. I'm sure there's other great tutorials out there as well. That doesn't mean I won't make one of myself. Let's press the little lock here to lock the door. That's unlocking it. There we go. I have my iPad and use it as another monitor and have the EFB on it for charts. It's very useful. That is very helpful. Yeah, I used to use a secondary monitor or like the side of my monitor for charts as well, but since I'm streaming, I don't do that anymore. I could still do that to see them, but then I look at them and don't show the stream because I forget that I can see it and you can't. So if I don't show it there, it forces me to always look at it on camera, which obviously helps everybody else because you can see what I'm actually talking about. And yeah, in the A350, it's all built in, which is great. You still need to have Navigraph, like it's connected to my account. But yeah, it's built, has a screen built into it for it, which is great. Works much better. It's cool, we can see the slides are armed. It's awesome. This is cool, it jumps right to the different parts of the LFP by clicking on this. Cool. It's a very, very thought out plane. Very well done. Even to the point where we have our pilot's bathroom here. But not open the door if you can. But you can flush the toilet even. Correct sounds for that and everything. Just super, super detailed. Oh, cool. I just forgot about that. Of course, you have sleeping quarters for the crew. Got some steps to climb up into it. We got a chair. Hang out in a nice place to relax. More steps, and we got our beds up here. Nice. That is super neat. I forgot about this. Chill spot too. Got nice curtains to close. Cool, I like that. It's crazy they put everything in here. Such a beautiful flight deck. It's so large. Let's not open the floor panel here. Let's try to close the door. There we go. I like the design on the seats too. Is there a little button to make the seat go back? No, I don't think there is. It should slide out of the way so you can get in. Okay, let's reset our view. Probably over top of descent. Oh boy, here we are. Let's do open descent here. Descend faster than the descent profile since we're a bit over here. Let's go to 40 miles. Bring the engines back to idle automatically. Whoops, of course I was waiting and then I missed it. We gotta catch up to it because obviously that is quite a descent already. I'm going to apply, I want to make sure we're on the profile correctly. I'm going to do a speed brake. Look at that, you can see that moving around it as well. It's super cool. We already had one flight where we came in way too fast the entire time, and I don't want that happening again, so I don't need the speed brake, but with the speed brake it's set to full and the speed allowed set to max. Essentially before overspeeding the aircraft, we can really drop this thing down. Seatbelt sign probably should be on right now. Repping over 6,000 feet a minute, that's okay. That's how we do it. You're definitely catching up to that profile. Over 6,000, jeez. Alright. Let's bring it down to 4,000. Still going to catch up to the profile with that, I imagine. No, that's not a stupid question at all. The red lines look like that because we're actually in Mach speed. Once you get above your transition altitude of 18,000, I'm sorry, I'm going to switch this over to managed descent. Like this. Should be in managed. Okay, so I'll quickly explain this first. This is descent profile, automatic descent, kind of like in a Boeing where when you click top of descent, or when you have your top of descent, automatically goes down. Here you have to tell it essentially to go to manage by pressing up, pushing in the dial, and there we are. We're on our managed descent profile. So it's going to follow that, and we're using thrust right now, so let's take our speed brakes off. There we go. All right. So yeah, once you hit transition altitude of 18,000, it switches over to Mach number. So you can essentially ignore the speed tape. You got to look at the Mach number here. It is relevant for overspeeding still. If you go past into the red tape, you're overspeeding, but it's not actually going 340 knots. We're going Mach 8.861. I'll show you the differences, which the speed of sound changes based on your altitude. So that's why it's different. The speed of sound is based on the air density. How fast speed can travel through air is how the speed is. So at different altitudes, you have different. The speed of sound is a different speed. Okay, 1 second. Let's help it out a bit here. Autopilot back on, please. We're below the descent profile, so I'm not sure why it's freaking out so bad. Let it manage the speed, manage its heading, manage its altitude, everything. The rest is idle. I have the speed brakes out. I'm just waiting for it to throttle up. There we go. For half. I don't want to be fighting itself, essentially. I'm trying to speed it up. So normally I do the manual calculations like in the A320 tutorial, but if I just enter my altitude and manage, I'll do the vertical speed for you. That's correct. So in the Boeings, it's more simple, where you just set your altitude down to where you want to go, and then when you hit top of descent, it just does it for you. But I just learned in this stream how this one works. Essentially, when you hit top of descent, you just want to go to manage, and then it will do it. But you have to click managed first. And if you're above this line, it's going to kind of nosedive to reach it. So you want to press it before you hit the top of descent. It's going to go down at minus 1,000. Essentially, hit the line. As soon as it hits the line, it'll catch it, and it'll follow it down. So you see the green dot? That shows the altitude of the line, essentially, of the descent profile, and we're following it smoothly. So if you're above it and you click manage, it will nosedive, hit the line, and then continue. If you're below it, it's going to just, and you click manage, it'll go down at minus 1,000 feet a minute, which is a pretty casual descent. And it's going to slowly descend, and then you'll eventually hit the line wherever you hit it, and it'll then take over. It will not work in the A320. I'm not 100% sure of that, actually. It never worked for me, but I believe it's a feature that it should work in the real plane. So it might work. It might work now. That's the reason why it wasn't in the tutorial. It's good to learn how to do it manually, but it just didn't work automatically either. I give it a shot, honestly. You don't have this helpful descent profile screen here, but the descent profile does exist. It should know how to do top descent for you, but it just doesn't always work, unfortunately. And without the visual, it's a little harder to tell. So we're now descending correctly. It has all control of its speed and heading and everything. which is good because it knows all the speed constraints and the altitude constraints. So here's the altitudes it wants to reach by certain waypoints. Here's the speed limit because we're hitting 10,000. That's the purple indicates that's what it's trying to get to. How to change your mouse to settings? Just click instead of having to drag your mouse to change settings, like altitude and so on. Hit escape, go to your settings, go to flight interface, and change this cockpit interaction system to legacy. The other mode is the new mode. I don't like it so much. It's more meant for controllers. Let's change our range to 20 miles. We're about hit 18,000. We need to do some other things that we should have done in advance. It's telling us check destination data. I know. Destination. No, we want to go to performance, approach. Do this very quickly. WX. We're going to KBZN. Search. So wind at the destination is 0, 0. Okay, there's no wind. Should I still put 0, 0? Probably. Outside air temperature is 1 degree. That says 7. 1 degree. QNH 3005. And our minimums, I'm sorry, I'll explain what I'm doing if I can. The minimum height, decision height is here. We are doing a straight in landing for 418. That's barometric. 4880 feet, I believe. I'm still new to reading that part of the chart, so that might not be right, honestly. Okay. And then we need to set the altimeter 3005 here. Then we hit 18,000 feet, so we need to do that. 3005. Set. 3005, which is 1018, because this only operates on that. I don't know how to change it. Probably can change though. 1018, there we go. Alright. So we're looking pretty decent, I believe. We're making our turn into the approach. So we're headed to, there's Levar and Rattle. We are technically headed to Rattle, but it's automatically doing the calculation of the turns. We don't have to hit here and then suddenly go like that. It's so it needs to turn like that to hit lever. We're still on the descent profile, which is great. We're about to be speed limited because we're going to hit 10,000, so we have to go less than 250 knots. Let's turn our seatbelts on. Just turn it back to auto. Never check the cabin temperature. It's not bad. 2021, we're looking nice. Just set it like that. There we go. There we are. Again, we're headed to Rattle and then Lever. Technically, Rattle is our next destination. But since it's got a turn, it's going to automatically calculate the turn to roughly like there. We're not going to really make it to Rattle. And that Lever, we got to be at 9,900. It's not a constraint though, it's just recommended, so hopefully we are there. It is trying to be at Lever at 9,900, as you can see. It's the constraints. If you don't see those on your navigation display, you need to go to the constraints here and turn that on. It's the same kind of thing for the A320. It looks a little different, but you need to turn your constraints info on. I'll give it a try and let you know in the Discord. Thanks, Ben. Be very helpful. Thank you, Matthew, for subscribing, by the way. So you can see the speed was just set down to 250 now. So it's slowly descending. Slowly slowing down. Thrust is at idle. See the rest of our descent profile here. We'll bring this into, we'll keep it at 20 miles for now. see our flap speed here. So we can put our flaps 1 at 255. 1 plus F, 220. So I'll wait till 220. Set flaps 1. Quite an amazing approach here. This is awesome. Take a picture of that just to remember this. So 9,900 is the goal and 250 knots. We just hit 250 knots. So now it's going to continue descending to hit 9,900 by lever. It looks like it's right on track. So yes, I'm glad this works really well. I'm going to bring this all the way down to 4,000. It's going to stay unmanaged. Does that mean a constraint? I believe it just... I'm not sure why it's a plus, honestly. That's the altitude it wants to reach because there's actually no constraints in this chart. It would be a blue number with a line below or above. If the line is below, it means you need to be above it. Essentially where the number is. The number is above the line, you got to be above. If the number is below the line, you got to be below. So it's just a recommended height for this approach, and that's just why I'm not sure why it's a plus. Why are we only going down at 1400? We need to be on managed descent. It needs to descend a lot faster than that, please. So we're going to theoretically nosedive to reach it, I hope. Let's give it some speed brake. A lot of speed brake. Help catch up to that descent profile. Let's get to where we can set some flaps too. Let's do 190 knots. And go to... Let's get rid of the speed brakes because we can hear the engines ramping up. Don't think it's catching the profile correctly, honestly. I don't know how our nav approaches work at this point. That's why I don't have a tutorial on this part. I'm not sure why it's not descending much faster. Possibly the approach had to be activated here. That could be why. Let's turn off the autopilot.
2,500.
I'm just gonna go, not go around, but I'm gonna activate this approach again just to see if we can fix that issue. Turn here, I'm gonna essentially direct back to the beginning of this approach. Almost here. Thrust is idle, now we're gonna stall out here. I'm not sure why it is. Alright, a lot going on. Cleared the warning, so I'm not sure why we're still freaking out here. We're fine, we're not stalling. It's fine. I know auto throttle's off, that's fine. Alright, let's set our heading. Set our speed to 210. Turn autopilot on. Autopilot hold, altitude hold at, say, 9,900. Let's try this again. Open climb to get to 9,900. Hold the heading. It can handle the speed. It can handle the throttle. Alright, we're back. Set it for 220 knots. No flaps, no speed brakes. Not sure why the throttle hasn't taken over. Direct climb thrust, it should be able to take over here. Yeah, now we're going way over speed. No surprise. This happens when auto throttle's not taking over. There we go, let's set it for climb. And auto throttle is now working. So we're idle power to get to 220 knots. Alright, let's try this again. Zoom it out a little bit. Let's go to nav view so we can see around us. Let's go to our flight plan. It's definitely not usual, but I'm still getting used to this plane. Let's reset this runway 30. Approach, our nav. Is that right? Or is it this one? RNAV Z. No, it's RNAV Y, right? Yeah. RNAV Y, 30. There we go. There's lever. So via. We don't need to do a via here. So let's put that in the flight plan. Clear the warnings, insert that, there we go. Set this to our next waypoint. Let's go insert from position direct to, insert direct to, and manage heading. So I'm telling it to stay at 9900, stay at 220 knots, and go to that heading. Alright, so that was a lot, sorry. Just got the Airbus Captain Pack, and it's pretty good if you're going to fly Airbus more. I've got it used from eBay. Yeah, I thought about it. I already had a joystick, a Thrustmaster T Flight stick, which worked pretty well. So that's why I got the Boeing one, because then of course I can use the throttle for both. And then I can use a yoke for every other aircraft that has a yoke, and my other joystick for Airbus. But yeah, it is definitely a great pack for sure if you're going to be flying it mostly. Trying to do that for a runway change yesterday, but couldn't figure out how to do it in A320. If you want to change a runway similar in A320, you'd go to your flight plan or your departure arrival. No, it'd be flight plan. I'm trying to picture the A320, and you click on your arrival, and you can essentially reset it up like you were doing your flight planning right at the beginning. As I did there, I essentially reset it up so it's because once you pass it, it doesn't have that waypoint anymore. Okay. Right, 9900. I'm not sure why the descent profile looks like this. We're supposed to be at 9900 at lever. Let's go to arc view here now that's in front of us. See our terrain scan there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's constantly scanning the terrain. You can actually see it live. Trying to clear all the waypoints and messed it up all and quit. Fair enough, yeah, it can be really frustrating. Definitely does not all work like this. Turn an LS on, that's probably needed to be on. That's why it didn't work. And then let's go to performance. Activate the approach. It probably needs to be activated for it to descend below 9900 on the profile. That's probably why it wasn't working. So let's do manage speed here, whatever it wants to do. And the approach is armed. So it wants to do less speed, okay. Let's go ahead and turn the flight status off so you can see more. But I set the manage speed earlier because I know what speed it wants to go. We're below 220. I'm going to go to 1 plus setting configuration 1. 1 plus F means flaps and slats, which are the front of the wing. You can see them moving here. What does the airport button do next to the constraint? This shows the airports on my screen, that's all. So you can see a little marker shows up at the airport, but if there's other airports too, it would show me them, just so I can be wary of air traffic. We're not following the descent. Probably needs to be set lower, that's why. I'm used to doing this all manually. I don't know what it needs to be set to though. Let's just set it for like 1,000. And let's set a manual descent rate that I'll come up with. For now we'll do open descent. We should descend just quickly. Let's go to 10 miles here. Yeah, I'm not sure why this isn't working here, but I'm still new with this plane. It's a complicated machine, that's for sure. Go to configuration 2. And 3 can be done at 195, so we'll do that soon. So we need to be at 7,900, 6,700. It's also not an ILS, it's an RNAV, which is why I'm not as familiar with how to do this. Maybe we need to set it for 5,900 then, I guess. My speed brakes out here. Set the flaps. Configuration 3. We need to be descending, please. It's really not descending. Go to vertical speed mode then. We're slow enough for the gears, so I'm going to use that as a speed brake. So we got to start descending real quick to catch up to this. Let's go ahead and flip on our nose lights.
2,500.
RNAV essentially should lead you in, but not actually put you on the ground. So it should be similar to an ILS for all this setup. It hasn't worked in that case here, so I am a little bit surprised of that. Alright, this is doing a bit of an extreme descent here. I'm going to be at 5,900 at Hazel, so we're there early. I do not know what I'm doing, apparently. Don't worry, everybody, I totally know what I'm doing.
1,000.
Setting it for final approach speed here. Let's go to full configuration. So there's no localizer, it won't automatically go to the glide slope. Basically, it should do the glide slope in advance based on GPS, but there is no localizer yet, so it won't do exact glide slope. It's useful for areas with a lot of terrain like this, where we have to come in for a complicated approach. That's usually when it's used. Okay, landing speed, 130 knots. Quite a turn right before the runway, that's why it's so complicated here. Let's arm the speed brakes, turn the auto brakes on. Passenger lights are still on, all on. No traffic right there coming out. Let's final turn in here. I'll have to take over here. Do manually landing because the auto landing, well, not just, you can't do an auto landing here. It's not ILS on this runway, but either way, it's horrible. Yeah, we are not at the right elevation at all. Okay. Turn off autopilot and auto throttle. Don't think I can make this landing even manually. Let's see. See what I can do with speed brakes out. Let's try to land. Actually, not. I might not need speed brakes. Oh, sorry. It's very hard to do that when I don't have the controls for it on my yoke. It's a massive plane to move around to. Another bad approach. We're gonna have to listen to that warning the whole time, which is quite annoying. Yeah, our nav approaches are complicated, but should not have that set up correctly in terms of elevation.
500.
But you can see we're coming in quite an angle. That's why you would use it. Our nav approach like this.
400.
Our idle thrust is we're coming in quite quick and we're above.
300.
Poppy lights say we're the high. Now we're on the right glide slope.
200.
I'm not sure. I might have to float this quite a bit. Hopefully I still have room to land it, because I'm coming in a little quick, I think.
Speed, speed,
100.
speed.
Yeah, I am.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Pitch, 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 pitch.
Not a nice landing, really. Slam the front wheel down with the reversers. And we're stopped on the runway as well. Perfect. Disarm that. Oh, I forget a couple things about flight sim. So when you look around, you lose all control of your flight controls. And you hold the right click. So I throttled up a little bit and then as soon as I went to look around, I throttled up, down, and my rudder left. And since I was looking around, that just did not matter. I just held my last control input and yeah, it threw me off the runway. That's great. Alright, let me get to the gate. I gotta stop streaming here. I thought I'd be done around 1:20, 1:30, and it's 1:45. I got things to do. I'll quickly get to the airport. I'm not going to even turn the APU on. We're just going to do a shutdown right away. And that guy's coming this way, so we're not going to go to a gate. We're going to park it right here. Because yeah, didn't want to speed ramp time because that's our challenge for this series. We never do that. But I also do got to go. So I'm glad we made it here just on time. That go around kind of took some extra time too, but yeah, I'll look up what I did wrong and try to learn better for the next one. It's still only a third flight with this plane, so we got to get used to it. It's a complicated machine, obviously. We will set it for external power. Well, there is no external power here, so turn all the batteries off right away. Alright, everybody, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for sticking around. Thanks, Ben, for being here again. Have a great day, everyone. I will actually mention we are flying to, now that we're at Bozeman, Yellowstone, next flight will be in a Vision Jet, a short flight over to Yellowstone Airport, which is closer to the park, and then we'll be switching to a helicopter flying over to the park to another airport on the opposite side. So yeah, you can click the link in the description to see all those flights. Alright, take care, everybody.